My name is Tiffany Gillespie, and today I will be talking a little bit about parasites that occur in canines. So some parasites that we'll see are some endoparasites as well as ectoparasites that I have put together, as well as one that is both an ecto at first, and then it can become an endoparasite as well. So the first one we're going to talk about is roundworm, hookworms, and whipworms in canines. Normally when you get a fecal sample, you can tell by the eggs. It is very common in young puppies and it can be very fatal. The transmission of the infection to the puppies is most of the time by the mom through the mammary glands, or also whenever the pet is inside and getting the nutrients. Its infection starts in the intestines and then moves its way out of the body. First indication of the infection is a lack of growth and a pot belly. So it looks a little bit bloated, I would say, is what a better word would be, and it has a dull coat. The treatment that I've seen be used for this is called Panicure, and it's done in 2 treatment cycles of 3 days. So the prevalence of these different common types of endoparasites, for here it shows that roundworm has been going up and down. There's very consistency in the type of prevalence. Whipworms seem to have gone down just a little bit, not super much, but just a little bit. But as far as hookworms have gone up in their prevalence over the years. Another type of parasite that we see in canines is tapeworm. These are transported by ingesting fleas. These cause failure to digest food, mild diarrhea, and sometimes even vomiting as well. And then from personal experience, this is very hard it's very easy to misdiagnose in canines because you can't see it necessarily if it's an adult stage under a microscope. You sometimes can, but most of the time it's harder to see if they're in the adult stage under the microscope. If it is in younger stage, you will be able to detect it easier and treat it. But if you don't get the proper sample and don't get a worm in that sample, it doesn't mean the pet does not have tapeworms. And another one that's very deadly type of endoparasite is heartworm. This type of parasite can result in lung disease, heart failure, and other organ damage, and sometimes even death. This worm is spread through the bite of a mosquito. So the mosquito bites and the worm goes to the mosquito, and then the mosquito bites, and then it infects the canine. So the mosquito is considered the intermediate host. The severity of this is based on how many worms are infected into the pet. The more worms the pet has, the more likely it is to have a harder time of getting rid of it and having a harder time of surviving through it. And some ectoparasites that we see are common are fleas and ticks, and are the most widely contracted parasites that can occur in canines. So fleas are a type of ectoparasite that if ingested can become an endoparasite and turn into tapeworms like we saw earlier. Fleas cause the pet to be itchy and cause allergic reactions. In some pets, it can even cause them to be anemic. Signs of infection is red bumps of the skin, flea dirt, and even many times the actual flea itself you can see on the pet. Flea dirt is flea feces composed of dried blood. Ticks can cause very serious diseases as well in canines, such as Lyme disease. They have a very complex life cycle. They have 4 life stages, which can take about 3 years to complete. Once they hatch, they must ingest or the tick dies. And they cannot be transported to different animals after infection occurs, and only occurs when the bite by the tick. And then here is my sources. If you have any questions, just reach out to me.